What you say in a doctor's appointment could be the difference between getting a prescription that just masks your symptoms and actually uncovering the root cause of what's making you sick. Although I am a holistic health advocate, I'm also an LPN. So I've been on both sides of the clipboard. I've watched doctors breeze in and out, and I've seen what happens when patients stay silent. And you might be thinking, my doctor is too busy, or I'm not qualified to question them. I understand the fear. The system honestly isn't really set up to make it easy. But by the end of this video, you'll have a word for word script that gets doctors to actually stop, listen, and address the root cause. I'm going to give you 3 specific questions, 4 phrases to avoid, and exactly how to handle it when a doctor tries to rush you out. So let's get started. Wagwan folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm your girl Tamika Chi, holistic wellness coach, herbalist, and LPN. And as always, I'm bridging the gap between health and wellness. But first, current sip status, hibiscus, lavender, and spearmint tea. Now, this is a very interesting mix for me. I went to the kitchen this morning and I was like, I want lavender, I want hibiscus, and I want spearmint, which I usually stay away from. I'm more of a peppermint girly, but this blend is nice. It's good to help lower cholesterol and blood sugar. It's rich in antioxidant, aids in calming the mind, as lavender also acts as an antidepressant. It's great for cognitive functions by supporting memory and focus, and it has antimicrobial properties as well. Overall, well-rounded tea. So let's be honest. How many of you have left the doctor's office feeling confused, dismissed, or like you forgot to ask that one thing that has been bothering you? You get in the car and suddenly the flock of questions flood your mind. But first, let's talk about why this matters, because understanding the why will give you the conviction to actually use these tools when you're sitting in the doctor's office, potentially feeling vulnerable. The mindset shift from authority to partnership and why it matters. Before we get into the specific questions, we have to address the energy you bring into the room. Traditionally, the doctor is the authority and we are the obedient patient. But from a holistic perspective, you are the expert on yourself. The doctor is a specialist in disease pathology and pharmacology. A true holistic approach bridges the two. Why is the shift so important? Because the traditional setting creates a power imbalance. The doctor has the title, the expertise, the white coat, and often a very tight schedule, which makes them more important. You sitting there waiting, maybe even in a flimsy gown, feeling vulnerable, can easily feel intimidated or less than. When you feel powerless, your nervous system enters a state of stress. And from a holistic view, healing can't occur optimally when your body is in fight or flight. When you go into an appointment feeling intimidated, we tend to overshare out of nervousness or undershare because we don't want to be labeled difficult. And there's this feeling of we need to rush. By walking in with intention, you reimbalance your dynamic. You move from submission to partnership, and you let it be known that you are just as important. So your first task is to ground yourself. Take a deep breath before you walk in. Remind yourself, I'm hiring this professional for their expertise, but I am the CEO of my own body. We aren't going in to fight. We're going in to collaborate. With this mindset, let's look at the language because that's very important. There are certain things we often say that immediately puts us into a passive, disempowered role, and we want to avoid those. What not to ask and why avoiding them matters. So let's start with what not to ask first. These are the phrases that tend to shut down the conversation before it even starts. We want to avoid them because in the short 10 to 15 minute appointment, we cannot afford to waste precious time by interactions that derail the conversation. So 1, avoid, what do you think I should do? Now, this might sound polite, right? But it actually hands all your power over. It asks the doctor to make the decision for you. often based solely on their clinical bias rather than your value and what you're experiencing. This matters because every treatment plan comes with a trade-off. A medication might solve one issue, but cause side effects that impact your quality of life. You are the one who has to live with your body. Instead, we want to ask, what are my options? That one word option is crucial. It forces a conversation about choice rather than obedience. Number 2, avoid, I'm sorry to bother you. I know we've all said this, and especially us Canadians, we're always sorry about something. We feel guilty for taking up their time, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't apologize because that is what they're there for. That is why we booked the appointment, to get expertise, to get help. And when you apologize, you're subconsciously telling them that your health is an inconvenience. And that's not the case. You are not a bother. You are the reason that they have a job. More than that, starting from an apology puts you in a shrinking, smaller energy. Instead, simply state, thank you for seeing me today. It sets the tone of mutual respect without the energy of apology. Number 3, avoid, my friend Google ChatGPT said it might be ... Now, I'm all here for advocating for yourself and learning a little bit, but leading with Dr. Google or your cousin's diagnosis can sometimes make the doctor defensive and irritated. It can make them feel like you're trying to do their job for them, and we don't want that. A defensive doctor is less likely to listen openly. Instead, describe the symptoms objectively. If you have a suspicion, phrase it as a question about ruling things out. Try, I'm concerned about X. Based on my symptoms, is that something that we should rule out? Or is it something that is of concern? Do you hear the slight difference? Number 4, avoid asking for a quick fix without context. If you go in and only ask, just give me the pill to make this stop, you're signaling that you don't care about the root cause. This matters because a holistic approach is built on the premise that symptoms are the language that the body uses to say that something is out of balance. If you only suppress the symptoms without addressing the root cause, then you're not healing. You're just masking the issue. This is the difference between truly healing and acting like you're okay. Now, let's move on to what to ask and why these questions heal. Okay, so now we got to the good part. The questions that turn the transactional visit into a transformational one. If you only have 10 to 15 minutes with your doctor, then you want to make them count. I've broken them into 3 categories. We have diagnostic, treatment, and lifestyle. Depending on what your visit is, then you're going to pick the questions accordingly. And I'm going to explain why these questions are so powerful. Category 1 is diagnostic. This is the why. Your first goal is to understand the mechanism of what is happening. So we want to ask, what is the suspected root cause of the symptom? This is one of the most important questions when you're dealing with a disalignment with the body. Notice I didn't ask, what is the diagnosis? A diagnosis is just a label for a collective of symptoms. High blood pressure, for example, is a diagnosis, but the root cause could be chronic stress, heavy metal toxicity, a thyroid issue, arterial inflammation. It could be many things. If you don't ask for the suspected cause, then you're not treating the issue. You force a conversation into a realm of preventative, true healing. So ask, what tests can we run to confirm this? And are there any functional or nutritional deficiencies that we should check for? In conventional medicine, they usually only test things that are super dangerous or obvious. But if you're feeling fatigue or anxious, they might not automatically think to check your vitamin D or your B12 or your full thyroid panel. This matters because this invites them to think beyond the bare minimum. It opens the door to see your body as an interconnected system rather than just a set of isolated systems that can be treated really quickly. Category 3, treatment and safety. If a medication or procedure is recommended, we need to assess it through a holistic lens. Ask, what are the potential side effects and how will I know if the treatment is working? You want to define success upfront. Why this matters? This sets a benchmark so you aren't left wondering weeks later if the treatment is actually helping or making things worse. Crucially ask, are there any lifestyle, dietary, or supplement interactions I need to be aware of? This is vital, especially if you're taking other forms of supplements. A lot of doctors forget to ask what supplements you're taking. St. John worts, for example, can interfere with many different pharmaceutical drugs. Why this matters? By asking this, you are protecting yourself from adverse reactions that your doctor may not have been aware of. You also signal to your doctor that you are taking an integrative approach, bridging the gap between conventional and holistic modalities so that you can safely combine the best of both worlds. Category 3, we have a lifestyle. This is basically where you're asking for homework. A holistic approach recognizes that healing happens either in the kitchen, your bedroom, and more importantly, in your nervous system, not just in the pharmacy. So you can ask, aside from medication, what lifestyle modifications like diet, sleep, or stress reduction would support my healing? Now, some doctors might get intimidated by this question or honestly won't even care. But a good doctor will appreciate this question. It shows that you want to be compliant with the process, not just the prescription. This question honestly acts as a litmus test. If they say diet doesn't matter, well, that's valuable information. Of course, diet matters. It tells you that this doctor might not be the partner that you need in your holistic journey. If they engage with you, then you've just opened the door to a truly integrative care plan. Now, handling the difficult response and boundaries. Now, let's be realistic. Sometimes you ask these great questions and the doctor says, oh, we don't have time for that, or that's not necessary. Then what do? You have to hold your boundaries with grace. If a doctor dismisses your questions about the root cause and your healing journey, then you can say something like, I hear that this time might be limited. This is really important to my healing journey. Could we schedule a follow-up specifically discussing the underlying factors? Or could you point me towards the resources where I can learn more about root causes? This communicates that you are not being difficult, that you are being thorough. And here's why this moment matters. Asking these questions isn't about getting answers. It's a vetting process. Not every doctor is a right fit for every patient, especially for those seeking a holistic approach. If you leave every appointment feeling smaller, shamed, or unheard, you have the right to seek a second opinion. Remember, the ultimate holistic question, is this the right practitioner for me? Just because they're a doctor, just because they went to medical school, doesn't mean that they're the perfect fit for you. Your nervous system needs to feel safe in order to heal. If the environment of the doctor's office or the person is spiking your anxiety every time, that cortisol is working against your recovery. Your healing journey is too important to stay with a practitioner who makes you feel small and unheard. So let's bridge this all together. And why is this entire approach important? Because you are the common denominator in your health. A doctor can come and go. You might see different types of specialists for a few minutes a year, but you're with yourself 24/7. Walking into a doctor's office with intentions is a form of self-care, a spiritual practice in boundaries and advocacy. You are allowed to ask for the why. You are allowed to ask about nutrition, and you are allowed to want to heal without medication. This process transforms your healthcare from something that happened to you into something you are actively a participant in. It honors the holistic principles that true health isn't just the absence of disease, but a state of physical, mental, and emotional well-being. If you take anything away from this video, remember, you are not a passive passenger in your health journey. You are the driver. The doctor is just a highly skilled co-pilot. So use them the way that you need to. I'd love to hear from your comments below. What is one question that you wish you had asked in a past appointment? Or if you have a success story where you advocated for yourself and found the root cause, share it below. It might inspire someone else to do the same. Take care, and remember, be kind to yourself. Peace and love always.